Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, it's Courtney here from the Outcasted OC Podcast and welcome to my Monday Night Raw review. Now I've just finished watching Raw. Please don't mind the fact that I am talking into my microphone. My earpods have quite literally died just before I decided to film this. So I'm just going to have to do this for today. Honestly, not much we can do about the situation, but I feel like any sound is better than no sound. So I've just finished watching Raw. Now keep in mind this is the go home Raw before Money in the Bank. To be honest, I really enjoyed the show. I could tell there was a massive difference between last week's show and this week's show, so let's just get straight into it. So we started off Monday Night Raw with a quick video recap of interactions that have happened between Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio in the last couple of weeks leading up to this week. So we had a video segment from like 3 weeks ago. Obviously that was from like the Miz TV segment, and then we had a video recap from the week after that, which was when Rhea got her new belt. And then the show starts off with Rhea and Dom already out in the ring. Dominic Mysterio is trying to welcome everybody to Monday Night Raw, but the crowd is booing him so loud that like he can't even say what he wants to say. Rhea Ripley goes ahead and says like Cody Rhodes is such a loser and he's such a wannabe. His momentum has slowed down. And at Money in the Bank, Dominic Mysterio, or just, you know, my Dom, will end you completely. He'll completely end all your momentum. It'll be all gone. Cody Rhodes comes out to the ring. So they're in Savannah, Georgia, which is quite close to where Cody Rhodes is from. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Cody Rhodes is from Atlanta, Georgia. So this is kind of like a hometown crowd. Like, they really got behind Cody. It was really awesome to see. So Cody basically was saying, you know, like, I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say welcome to Monday Night Raw, and obviously that goes over really well with the crowd. Rhea's basically trying to say, like, if you try and bully Dom, you know, try and go ahead and do it. He's very dangerous. And at Money in the Bank, you know, you're not going to know basically what's hit you with how dangerous he is. Cody Rhodes is like, well, thank you for educating me on that because I wasn't aware of the situation. And he basically, you know, he says that those that matter don't mind and those that mind don't matter. He basically quotes Cat in the Hat, and he references that, and he says, I'm quoting Cat in the Hat because you're a child, you're a scared little boy. And he says, you know, Damian Priest isn't running away from me, so why don't you show me something? I'll give you one free shot right here, right now, for you to show me how much of a man you are. And then obviously, like, Dominic and Rhea are leaving the arena, leaving the ring, and then Cody says, you know, I see you leaving. You know, your cheap shots are effective, but at Money in the Bank, you're stepping into a different body of water. You're half the man that your dad is. And then he basically just asks, if you know, if you're not half the man that your dad is, are you, you know, Mommy's little boy? Which is a really good play on words there. Anyway, then we had a quick video recap of the issues that we've been seeing with Bronson Reed and Shinsuke Nakamura, as well as Ricochet. We got a quick video recap of the match that happened last week between Bronson Reed and Shinsuke Nakamura with the interference of Ricochet. Then we quickly delved into the match, which was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet. Now, I'm really loving the fact that Triple H is giving us all these matches that we want. I mean, Ricochet and Shinsuke Nakamura, that's a match that you could have on any premium live event, but Triple H is giving this to us weekly. He's feeding us well, honestly. And it was noted that Bronson Reed was ringside for this match. He does play a little bit of a part in this match. The crowd really loves Shinsuke Nakamura. They're singing his song, they're getting behind him. It's fantastic to see. There was one really good move that was referenced on commentary that I really enjoyed seeing. It was a homage to a kick that Booker T does. So Ricochet kicked Shinsuke Nakamura with the kick that Booker T normally does. And there was a really cool move as well too, where, you know, like Bronson Reed was kind of having some interference outside of the ring, and then Ricochet kicks his leg to Shinsuke, and Shinsuke then throws it at Bronson Reed, so that ends up getting him involved. Bronson gets really frustrated at the situation. He's like, I'm just here trying to watch this match, like, what are you doing? He ends up getting ejected from ringside, which was quite funny to see, but he got really grumpy. He starts flipping the ring steps, he gets real mad. So it's safe to say that this feud is far from over. Ricochet comes to the win. Fantastic match, fantastic showing from Shinsuke and Ricochet. I loved this match so much. They have really good in-ring chemistry together, and I think it was fantastic to see. Then we have a video recap from the tensions that have been brewing between Matt Riddle and Gunther, and we obviously had a recap of the match from last week, which was Riddle versus Ludwig Kaiser. Then we have a quick backstage segment that was shot earlier in the day. Basically, Byron Saxton was talking to Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle was talking about his frustrations with Imperium and challenges Gunther to a match for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank. Now, I had predicted that this was going to happen in one of my TikToks. I did a rating the build video where I talked about all the different matches and I rated the builds for them. I said this was an honourable mention because it hasn't been confirmed, but he basically shouted him out and challenged him to a match at Money in the Bank. So then we end up seeing that Byron Saxton is talking to Riddle. I was about to say Ricochet, wrong person, talking to Riddle, and he's like, do you think it's smart for you to be calling out Gunther and Imperium like this after all they've done to you? Ludwig Kaiser comes into the picture and he says, you got what you deserved last week from Gunther and myself after the way that you tore down on Giovanni Vinci and the way that you did. And he's basically saying that your amateur skills aren't going to get you anywhere. Matt Riddle goes ahead and says, they obviously worked because they beat you. And then Ludwig says it will never happen again. They start fighting between each other, and Gunther comes and kicks Riddle, and he says your challenge is accepted, and then ends up stomping at his ankle. So it's safe to say that we will be seeing Gunther versus Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank this weekend. Next up, we had a video package, which was a repeat video package for the Bloodline. Now we're going to be getting a couple of these during the episode of Monday Night Raw. So we had the first one today, kind of showing what happened on Friday Night SmackDown last week with the demise of the Bloodline and the Bloodline Civil War happening at Money in the Bank this weekend. Adam Pearce is backstage and Rhea and Dominic come in, and Dominic says, I want a match tonight because I felt so embarrassed by Cody Rhodes. Give me a match tonight. Adam Pearce is like, who do you want a match with? Because I need to know who to set it up with. And Rhea goes, we'll get back to you. So it's clear to see that there's no real idea of who they're going to have a match with. But we end up finding out later on in Monday Night Raw who Dominic Mysterio's mystery competitor is. Then, one thing I really appreciated in this episode is they took a lot of time to build up Money in the Bank. So they had this promo which was done by Jackie Redmond, I think her name is. She's one of the WWE correspondents. I think she's mostly on the SmackDown Lowdown along with Matt Camp. So there was a Money in the Bank promo segment that was really long. It was actually hyping up Money in the Bank, talking about the fact that it's never happened in London before. There was a lot of facts and figures in this, a lot of percentages on how many of the men have, been a part of matches, how many of them have successfully cashed in, same with the women. I honestly think you should really go and see this, seek this segment out for yourself and watch it, because I can't explain what it was. I was so enamored by it, but there was some quotes that were in there, and basically, it says that the fortune favors the bold, and they've made it clear that Money in the Bank can now be used to cash in on any championship at any time. So it's not just specific to the World Heavyweight Championship and the Women's Championships, it's for any championship, whether that's at the main event or if that's at your mid-card. So that's cool to see that they've kind of made that clear that that's what you can do. But yeah, I definitely loved this segment. I think it's fantastic. It really gives a lot of validity to the fact that Money in the Bank is happening overseas this year. And I'm genuinely so excited for Money in the Bank this weekend. I am absolutely stoked. Then we moved into a match between Ronda Rousey and Raquel Rodriguez. Now this is obviously going off of what happened last Friday on Friday Night SmackDown. After the match for the unified titles, obviously Liv Morgan returned and they've now faced off against each other. It's now been made official that the tag match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, I had to think about that because there's a few R's in this. So Ronda and Shayna will go up against Raquel and Liv at Money in the Bank for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, I kind of saw this coming. It wasn't confirmed, but it's good to see it's been confirmed now. So this has officially been added to the Money in the Bank match card. I think it's going to be a good match. we'll just have to wait and see. But we had the match between Ronda and Raquel. Now, this was a really good match. A lot of submission moves coming in from Ronda. A lot of power moves coming in from Raquel. There was a moment where Shayna did try and distract the ref, but then Liv came over and started beating down on Shayna, which was quite good to see. Ronda Rousey did come away with the win on this, which I kind of expected. It's definitely going to add a lot into their match this weekend. Now, we had a promo from Finn Balor. Now, I think this is probably one of Finn Balor's strongest promos that he has cut. So he cut a promo basically towards his match that's happening this weekend against Seth Rollins. And he says, I haven't written the entire promo down, but I got the gist of it. So he's basically saying, the guy who beat you 7 years ago is no longer around. He's dead. This guy is much worse. He said, I got bitter, you got better. Let's analyze that. SummerSlam 2016, and he runs through all the medical terms for what happened with his injury. He said, my injury happened and I still beat you. I was forced to relinquish the title 22 hours after I had won it. And he basically said, that's not where my problem lies with you, Seth. My problem lies with you when I was at my lowest point, you laughed in my face and you poured salt into the wound. I'll never forget that. And I got chills when I was watching this. I was like, oh my gosh, like, literally, I was getting reminders in my head about what happened. And he said, I didn't get bitter. You made me bitter. Bitterness is all I have now. They worship you. They sing your song. They worship the ground that you walk on. This weekend at Money in the Bank, I will be winning the World Heavyweight Championship because I will have vengeance on my side. I was like, yo, that's insane. And he said, 7 years, I'm taking it all back, and it's going to be a bitter pill for you to swallow. And as soon as that promo finished, I was like, this man deserves an Oscar, because that promo was fantastic. Genuinely, if you didn't know anything about the feud between Seth and Finn, just listening to that promo would get you on, like, Finn's side. It would get you interested in the match, and I'm so excited for this. Then we quickly see that Seth Rollins is backstage. He's walking out to the ring. He comes out. He says, hey, like, before I get started, I just want to acknowledge that we have a special guest today. And he introduces the Nxt Men's Champion, who is Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes gets a wee shot. He's in the crowd. And he says, I don't really do this often, but thank you for having my back last week in NXT. He said, we're both fighting champions. And then he says, at Money in the Bank, I'm going to be going one-on-one with Finn Balor. And he said, which Finn Balor is it going to be at Money in the Bank? And then he references that Finn Balor has jumped him twice and, has turned his ribs to dust. And he says, Finn, I'm still standing. How about you come out here and finish the job right now? And he said, I know you're dangerous and I know you're smart and you've tricked yourself into thinking that your fate and your destiny is to take it all from me. And he says that the best version of Finn Balor is still not going to beat the best version of Seth freaking Rollins. And I was just like, this is literally all I need to know. And then he basically was trying to, coax out Finn to come and, chat to him, attack him, do whatever. Finn ends up coming behind with a chair and starts brawling. And there's a moment where Finn hits Seth with the chair, and then he goes outside to try and grab another chair from the timekeeper's area. But whilst Finn's trying to grab the chair, Carmelo grabs it out of Finn's hand. And I was like, ooh, Finn, you don't want to do that. So he grabs it out and then they start running through the crowd, and that pretty much finishes off Seth Rollins' promo. It was a real fantastic promo. I loved the fact that Carmelo Hayes was involved in this, and we're definitely going to see it further in the episode that Carmelo Hayes is actually still involved in the Monday Night Raw episode. So we have a video recap from the Miz's Open Challenge last week, and obviously we get the reminder that it was Ciampa that came out and answered the Open Challenge. We get a reminder about the the match that they had last week. Then we get a promo from Tommaso Ciampa. We see Byron Saxton's backstage, and he's like, hey, why did you attack The Miz? And Ciampa basically says, I was out for 9 months with, hip surgery. I was out for 200 and something days. I had zero contact from The Miz. He didn't call, he didn't text me, didn't FaceTime me, didn't do any of that. And he goes, it's funny. I mean, The Miz is a user. This injury was a blessing in disguise because it gave me time to be left alone with my own thoughts. And I thought to myself, why am I being second fiddle to a guy in a neon jacket when I know who I am? And he said he's going to create his own opportunities. And I was like, this is the Tommaso Ciampa that I want to see on the main roster. I was like, give me Tommaso Ciampa. So we end up getting a match that happens between The Miz and Tommaso Ciampa. As Tommaso Ciampa is walking out to the ring, we end up seeing that The Miz is chasing him down the ramp. So Tommaso has his entrance, he's walking down, The Miz starts chasing him, starts beating him down, by the ring, throws him onto the ring apron, just beats him down, and then hits him with a skull-crushing finale up the ramp. And so the match doesn't end up happening because it's kind of called off due to the fact that The Miz has kind of beat down on Tommaso before the match has even started. Then we get the really quick announcement to say that Finn Balor versus Carmelo Hayes is going to be happening tonight on Monday Night Raw. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, dream match, so excited. So excited to see Carmelo Hayes on the main roster in terms of just having a match. I think this is a really good opportunity for him to get people to see him, and I'm starting to think that there will be a main roster call-up at some point for him. Then we see that Ludwig Kaiser is talking, and he's basically saying that Matt Riddle versus Gunther has been made official. He's talking to Gunther. Sami Zayn walks in, and, Ludwig is like, just keep walking, this business doesn't involve you. And Sami's like, well, I mean, you don't like it when, people walk in and interrupt your conversations. Why do you think it's okay to do it to ours? And KO's basically like, we don't have time for this. We have a reason that we're here. And they're basically asking, how could you do that to Riddle? And Ludwig says, be careful with your words because Gunther annihilated KO. He'll do the same to Riddle. Just stay out of the business. Stay out of our business. And Sami said, well, you beat KO and it took 3 of you. So how about it's just me and you tonight? So the match between Gunther and Sami Zayn happens. I mean, it's made official. I'm so excited for this. I feel like Triple H is really giving us he's given us a 3-course meal with this Monday Night Raw. Keep in mind, this is the Monday Night Raw before Money in the Bank, and I'm just so excited. Then Dominic Mysterio comes back out to the ring with Rhea Ripley for his match against a mystery opponent. The mystery opponent, Akira Tazawa. So I'm excited to see Akira Tazawa in this match. He does a really good job. He's actually doing really well. He needs more screen time and he needs a really good storyline to sink his teeth into to actually get the momentum back that he originally had. So Dominic starts beating down on Akira Tazawa straight away, but Akira's got some really good moves in his arsenal, some high-flying moves. He's doing a really good job. There's a moment in the match that's quite cool that Akira's on the top of the ring and he's looking at Rhea, and Rhea's looking at him really scarily, and he freaks out and then ends up getting hit with a frog splash by Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio comes away with the win. Very quick match. Then we end up seeing a Viking Raiders promo, basically talking about how the gods haven't spoken to Valhalla in a couple of weeks, and when they get the opportunity, they will hurt the Alpha Academy. It kind of served its purpose, but I'm not really too sure what's going on with the Viking Raiders and Alpha Academy in terms of the feud they've got going on. I feel like we've been seeing this kind of for the last couple of weeks. I kind of don't really know where it's going from here. Then we had the WWE Women's Money in the Bank Women's Summit. Now, I can't recall if they've done this before, but it's basically when they have a bunch of ladders in the ring and Corey Graves is there and all of the women who are competing in the Money in the Bank ladder match are in the ring. It's kind of like a promo segment with all of them. Anyway, so Bayley's just talking and she's basically saying, out of everybody who's standing here, I'm the only person who's won Money in the Bank, and I may be winning it again this time. And she completely disregards Io. Io's looking at her and starts talking in Japanese. And then Io says, may the best woman win. And then Zelina pipes on in because Zelina Vega's there too. And she says that she's so sick of Damage Control dismissing everybody. And she goes, Becky Lynch, I have so much respect for you. You've done it all in this industry, except for winning Money in the Bank. And Zelina then calls Zoe Stark a groupie. She calls Trish Stratus a legend, but she said that she's obviously never been in a Money in the Bank ladder match before. And so Zelina's really, getting them zingers in. And Zoe and Trish are basically just saying that, you guys are a bunch of little girls. And Trish says it's clear to see why you needed me to save the women's division. I'm a woman and the best and the greatest that there'll ever be. Winning is what I do. And she says, Becky, we can't really call you a girl or a woman because you refer to yourself as a man, or as the man. Well, at the end of Money in the Bank, will you be man enough to say thank you, Trish? We didn't really get anything said by Becky. She kind of walks forward and looks like she's about to say something. She ends up just punching Trish Stratus, and I was like, get her, get her. And then they end up just having this massive brawl in the ring, and at the end of it, it ends up getting taken out of the ring as well too. Io ends up doing a moonsault, which is a very beautiful moonsault. And then we see Becky walking up, like running up the ladder and retrieving the briefcase, so she takes it off the carabiner and is holding the briefcase. Is that a preview of what we're going to see this weekend? I don't know, but it was really cool to see Becky standing on top of the ladder with the briefcase. It's a sight that I really want to see before she retires, and I hope that we do get that at some point. After that, we had Kathy Kelly backstage, and she quickly spoke to Carmelo Hayes before his match. She asked him, hey, how you feeling about your match towards Finn Balor tonight? Carmelo Hayes says, it's my first time on Monday Night Raw. I'm up against Finn Balor. It was great to get the invite from Seth Rollins. He is the World Heavyweight Champion. It's such an honor, and I aspire to be like him. You got to take shots to make the shots, and I don't miss. And I was like, I can't wait to see you wrestle Finn Balor on the main roster. I was so excited. Then we had the match between Gunther and Sami Zayn, and KO was on commentary with Corey and Kevin, and I was like, I can't wait. This is going to be so good. This was an awesome match. Sami and Gunther really put on a show. Obviously, their ring styles work really well together. There's a lot of chops in there, a lot of blue thunder bombs. It was really good. They kept up with each other really well. There was a part in the match where Giovanni Vinci does come out. He's in crutches and he starts to try and interfere with the crutches. Then Kevin Owens starts beating down on him, on Imperium, so beating down on Ludwig and on Giovanni. And then Matt Riddle comes out and tries to team up with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and then Gunther ends up coming away with the win, which it was predictable it was going to happen, but I'm happy that it happened. This is obviously amplifying the feud for the Gunther and Riddle match that's happening at Money in the Bank this weekend. Then we end up seeing Becky Lynch walking backstage, and so excited for this. She has a backstage segment with Rhea Ripley, so she's walking past and she sees Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley sees her, and Rhea Ripley says, I really hope that you don't win Money in the Bank. That's the last thing I'd want you to do, is try and cash in on my title. And Becky says, whenever I was champion, I was always defending it. I was always main eventing. You've become a main event side piece. That title needs me. I want to win Money in the Bank just to watch you squirm. I love how they are teasing this match. They've been teasing it time and time again, and I am genuinely, whenever this match does happen, I'm going to be physically and emotionally torn, because I love Becky Lynch. As you can see, she is my queen, and I love Rhea Ripley. So loving both of these women is just going to make it so incredibly hard when it comes down to when this match actually happens. I don't know who I'm going to support more, but I'm excited that they are teasing this and it will happen eventually some point down the line. So before the match between Finn Balor and Carmelo Hayes, we had a video package obviously hyping up Carmelo Hayes, introducing him a little bit more to the main roster crowd if they have not watched NXT or are not aware of who Carmelo Hayes is. Obviously referencing his match against Baron Corbin happening tomorrow night on NXT. Then we had the match between Finn Balor and Carmelo Hayes. Now, this was a match that I didn't know that I needed in my life, but I'm incredibly happy that it happened. Triple H fed us well with this match. This was a dream match for me at some point down the line when Carmelo was on the main roster. I didn't realize we were going to get it tonight. I didn't write down very many notes because I was just watching this match. I was so happy that Carmelo Hayes got the shine that he deserves on the main roster. It was an awesome match. He did an awesome fadeaway move. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, Finn Balor did beat him clean, which I was very disappointed about, because I would have loved if Carmelo Hayes had have beat Finn Balor and added a little bit of insecurity to Finn before his match towards Money in the Bank. But obviously it was used to amplify Finn for that feud, and obviously Carmelo Hayes got a really good showing. He did fantastic. I do think a main roster call-up is in his cards in the future, and I am so excited for whenever that happens. Then we had kind of a response promo from Alpha Academy to the Viking Raiders, and they're basically asking, if they think we're amateurs, we're savages, you're idiots kind of thing. And then Maxine says, I haven't had a match yet, but every time I've been around Valhalla, I've destroyed that witch, and I'm ready for whatever she brings next. So I think this feud is going to be continuing further down the line. I'm not really too sure when it's going to finish. I think it'll finish with a six-man tag, basically. Alpha Academy, which is Otis, Chad, and Maxine, against Eric, Ivar, and Valhalla at some point down the line. Then we had a video recap of the Natalya and Rhea segment that happened last week. Honestly, I don't want to sound mean, but as soon as I saw this come up on my screen, I was like, am I going to have to endure another Natalya segment, another Natalya promo? I don't know what they're doing with her, and it makes me so frustrated because I think Natalya is a fantastic athlete. You know, she's a part of the Hart Foundation. She is a Neidhart. She should, on paper, be one of the best wrestlers in the WWE solely based on her prestige and the pedigree she comes from. But she has been so incredibly underused for so long that it makes it incredibly difficult for anybody to get behind her. And I'm literally just speaking for myself. I don't know if many other people feel this way, and I really don't like being mean about people in wrestling, but like, I just think someone like Natalya, if she had have been used better, could have been a credible force up against Rhea Ripley. But yet, they're trying to feed that to us again. So, you know, she's talking backstage to Kathy Kelly, and, you know, Natalya is basically saying that I've signed up for this life. The hardest battle is not physical, it's mental. You know, I've been broken down, I've been shaken, and I'm still here. And she challenges Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship next week on Monday Night Raw. We've had 2 matches between these two. I don't see why we need a third, because it's not going to make Natalya look any better. It's going to make Rhea look worse in her reign, because all Rhea has done is wrestled Zelina Vega, which that was a fantastic match at Backlash, and she's wrestled Natalya twice. Like, can we please move on? Can we please start giving her feuds with people who are credible and can actually put on a really good match against her? Because I just don't understand why WWE keeps trying to push the Natalya and Rhea feud. It's not going to happen. It's not going to go off in the way people think it is. But after this, we had the video repackage of the Bloodline Civil War, obviously what happened on Friday Night SmackDown, and obviously showing that there is the match happening at Money in the Bank this weekend. I'm very excited for the match. I think it's going to be great. I would personally love to see the Usos do their old entrance. You know, they did their Samoan dance at the entrance ramp. I think that would be a really cool nostalgia pop, but also would be a really cool way of showing that they're now separated from the Bloodline. Obviously, the Usos Penitentiary is something that they did well before joining the Bloodline. It's just something I want to see. And the main event was Cody Rhodes going up against Damian Priest. Now, I didn't write very many notes in terms of, like, you know, match happenings, kind of what happened. I was basically watching the match the entire time. I did notice that Damian Priest's gear was a little bit different from what it normally is. It was very Diesel / Kevin Nash / you know, Razor Ramon inspired. I know Razor Ramon / Scott Hall's like a massive influence for Damian Priest, so I really loved seeing that change in ring gear. It was a fantastic match. Cody Rhodes put on a really good performance as well as Damian Priest. There was one point in the match where Rhea and Dom came out to try and help Damian Priest. Now I'm noticing a little bit more as of late that Finn Balor is a little bit more removed from helping out in these matches. He used to be a little bit more helpful in terms of if someone from the Judgment Day was having a match, it'd be all 3 of the other members there. I'm kind of noticing a little bit more that Finn's not really around as much when it comes to that. So maybe that signs that there's still tension in there, who knows. But there were some moments where Dom and Rhea were trying to interfere and then, you know, trying to get the better of the situation. There was a moment where I think it was Dom who was trying to interfere with the ref and then Rhea knocked Cody, or vice versa. I couldn't remember who it was, but that happened. Some really good moves in this match. All in all, it was a fantastic match. Cody Rhodes did come away with the win on this one, which was quite good. And then there was a moment where Dominic Mysterio came back into the ring and hit Cody Rhodes just before the end of Monday Night Raw. So, all in all, I think this has been one of the more solid Raws before a premium live event that we've seen in a very long time. I think this was fantastic from, you know, start to finish. A lot of matches have, you know, been built up further from this Monday Night Raw. A lot of matches have been confirmed for Money in the Bank. I think all in all, this was fantastic. Let me know what you guys think about how Monday Night Raw went for you down below in the comments, and make sure while you're there that you like the video, you share, you comment, you subscribe to the Outcasted OC YouTube channel. We will be doing a Money in the Bank predictions video coming this week, where it'll be all of us from the Outcasted gang, and we will be having undeniable Johnny Goldsmith from the Snapbacks and Beards podcast joining us for the Money in the Bank predictions episode. Make sure you also go ahead and follow all of our personal social medias. I will make sure to have them down below. So that's our TikToks, our Instagram, and make sure you also go and follow the Outcasted on TikTok and Instagram. We do occasionally post shorts from episodes of the podcast on the TikTok as well as YouTube shorts. So make sure you go and check them out. If I don't see you between now and the podcast, I think I will. I'll probably see you podcast, and then I'm doing the SmackDown review before Money in the Bank because G and Ross are both going to be at SmackDown this week, so I'll be doing the SmackDown review, so make sure you check that out when it happens. But yeah, I will see you in the podcast. Bye guys.